Have you experienced this? Well, let me ask you a question. Do you want to be the most flexible artist and prevent your impending doom on becoming a shadow of the artist you're trying to copy, base your art style from? You came in the right place. Okay, in order to have a decent head turn, two fundamental needs to be considered: facial structure and foreshortening. Whoa, give us a visual explanation. You can just mention two things that we barely don't know. Don't worry. That's why Sigma is here with us to display his prominent facial feature. As you can see, Sigma has a very prominent cheekbones and the luscious lips. We don't want to do Sigma dirty when we do a head turn, do we? Beginners tend to use one reference that they find in the internet and make it a definitive reference on how face looks like on different angle, but it ends up looking like a different person. Look, he's half the man that he is now. With Richard Sigma, look how sad he is. In order to make it more simple to understand, these are the features of your face is very prominent, and depending on which part you want to exaggerate, you also need to communicate that when doing a head turn. Look, now it's back to being the cool Sigma that we know and love. Much better, right? Look, if you're worried that this whole tutorial is not gonna work when you're exclusively doing a stylized art style, you're absolutely wrong. Here's the thing. When you're doing a stylized art style, all of the fundamentals is just simplified. You still apply the fundamentals you learn. It's just a simplified version of those fundamentals. You can 100% apply this when you're doing a stylized art style as well. That's why you tend to see a lot of beginners when they're doing their own character. It looks good on the front angle, right? But it looks whack. It looks not really presentable when they start to do a head turn, because they don't take into consideration their own character's facial structure. Because in stylized, that's why you have Bishonen, Shoujo, or whatever they call it in anime, because there's a lot of different type of facial structure in stylized art style as well. It might not even be exclusively anime style. It might be semi-realistic, but a lot of things governs what you can argue what semi-realistic is, but that's a different topic for a different video. So yes, you can 100% apply this as well when doing a stylized character, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, foreshortening is a bit complicated topic, and I'm not afraid to admit that I'm still trying to look for a way to do it more efficiently. But that doesn't mean that there's no constant rule. There's not a constant rule to ease up your foreshortening journey. As it rotates away from your eyes, you see less of the side that is facing away from your eyes, because it has a very little space to show on that angle, hence the word foreshortening. As the object aligns to the eye level, everything would be foreshortened. I don't really have a very detailed explanation. That's just based on my observation throughout the times that I draw and whenever I try to observe my hand movements. So take it as you will. Overall, foreshortening heavily relies on perspective and the general knowledge of the actual subject you're trying to foreshorten. I heavily advise what everyone else is doing, and that is to practice foreshortening with simple shape and try to build your muscle memory of how it's supposed to go, because as much as I want to be, the guru of art and the know-it-all of art, sometimes there's just there's one constant thing that everyone would suggest you to do, because that's the only way to do it and there's no shortcut for it, and that is to practice foreshortening, because you only get good at foreshortening through experience, or you want to focus on doing human artwork, extensive knowledge of anatomy is your friend, because you need to know how things is supposed to go, how things attach to each other. That's very excessive, but if you really want to go all out, being excessive is what you need to do. Or you can just use reference as well to make it easy for your brain to absorb visual resource. But remember, have a sustainable practice schedule. Briefing yourself to do practice session every day won't really help you on the long run. It's better to have an objective in mind when doing a practice session, so twice per week perhaps should be enough, and this would also make it so you can retain more knowledge long term. You don't need to stress yourself out every day, forcing yourself to do practice every day, because that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're just going to have a massive burnout if you did decide to go on that route. Now that I gave you the necessary fundamentals to strengthen your foundation, it's finally time to do your part and further study and improve those foundations. You might be asking why, because spoon feeding you the entire thing won't really help you as well. It's better for you to actually figure some things out on yourself, so that you could be more flexible and know how to do it without anyone telling you how it's supposed to go. Now go and become the most flexible artist out there, and keep being creative.